Warning, this podcast contains heavy spoilers for not just one movie, but entire franchises. We highly recommend going and watching these movies before listening to us as a companion piece that stitches all the timelines into one creepy, crime-ridden story. There will be no more spoiler warnings. We do not break character. After this, there is no turning back. You've been warned. Hit the music.
You are talking about the nonsensical ravings of a lunatic mind.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's
alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hello, freaks and fiends, and welcome to It's Alive podcast. See that? I've changed it for the new year. This is a true crime, paranormal, interstellar podcast covering unbelievable stories that sound like they were ripped straight from the pages of a Hollywood script. I'm your host, the outlaw Dr. H.R. Smokenstein, THC, and with me, as always, is my very own Scream Queen, the perfect combination of beauty and brains, the bride of Smokenstein, the India heart, the expert of guts and gore, the gorgeous, the sexy Amy Rose. We haven't done one of these in ages, and I can't fucking wait.
You can tell because my mic was nowhere near me.
Huh?
You can tell we haven't been at this in a few weeks because my mic was nowhere near me. I know. Yeah.
I think Christmas break spread over a little bit because we had what I like to call my video camera won't work properly break.
Yeah, that was annoying. And then we had our Stranger Things is too good break.
Well, I'll discuss that in the Horrorverse headlines tomorrow on my own. I'm doing the Horrorverse headlines solo tomorrow, on Friday.
No, me.
This week, because you're going to be away and I will explain everything. But I will say this right up top from the very beginning. We hope this will be a video episode. We're
Fingers
praying
crossed.
this will be a video episode.
It
We're
probably
pretty
will
sure
be.
we will have the problem solved completely by next week's run of episodes. But if the video drops off, I'll try and keep an eye on the video. It's hard to watch the scripts and all that, the bullet points here in front of me of stuff we have to talk to and keep an eye on the camera at the same time. So I'll keep an eye on the camera. If the video fucking drops off halfway through and I don't notice, then this is going to be an audio show, people. It's just going to be a regular old school podcast.
Can't give him half video.
We tried that once.
Nah.
I'm hoping it'll hang in there. I'm going to keep a fucking close eye on it. If I notice it soon enough after it's happened, I will pause the show, fix the camera, and come back here. So if we sound a little bit disjointed, you know why. But everything is running smoothly so far.
Yep.
Because
you'll pick off when you go back in 10 minutes
we were
later.
about 10 minutes into the Horrorverse headlines. I just wasn't repeating myself. I got up and walked out of the room. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm like, fuck this video. Fuck this. And I
But
just
you're a
walked
trooper,
off.
so at least you came back to it, or you have plans to come back to it.
What I'm going to do is, and by the time they hear this, it'll all happen
It'll all
tomorrow.
be
So
out.
it'll all be already happening. What I'm going to do is, last week's empty Friday slot that has nothing in it, it's going to be a 10-minute episode of me just giving you our kind of New Year's resolutions, telling you what we're going doing with Patreon and all that stuff going forward, and our plans for some new stuff this year. Then I will, after that, I'll record a full new episode for this week where I'll talk, because I got some nice suggestions from people on Instagram for movies to watch this week.
Oh, you
I'm gonna
did.
talk
I remember
about a few
that.
of them. Anyway, we're talking ancient aliens. We've talked about xenomorphs in the past.
A long
We've
time ago.
talked about the Yautja in the past. Now, those episodes will have to be updated at some point because, see, this is the thing with aliens. We're constantly learning new shit. So as we learn new stuff, we got to update the episode.
Sure
So
do.
eventually we'll get back to those guys again. But today, we're talking about ancient aliens, in specifically the Andromedans.
Yes.
And I find these guys really interesting because before I started listening to Brian Cox too much, who spoils everything for me, entertains
Does
while
he spoil it or does he educate you?
Same difference.
I suppose, yeah.
Because he's running around now trying to disprove ghosts on me, and I'm getting a bit pissed off. But the Andromedans is something I've always found really, really fucking interesting. The idea of gods actually being alien life forms coming down here to help us progress. But we're going to get into all that right now, so let's just crack right on. Amy, let's go for it.
Okay. Well, so when people hear the word Andromedans, they usually think it's just another alien label. Greys, Nordics, reptilians, whatever box you want to put them in. But the Andromedan narrative doesn't fit neatly into that. And that's because this is not an invasion theory.
No, it's worse than that. Invasions are loud. This is administrative.
Exactly. The Andromedans, according to research, didn't arrive on Earth to conquer it. They arrived because Earth already had something that they were interested in.
Which is a red flag straight off the fucking bat.
Oh, yeah.
You never want the advanced being to show up after you're already living there, you know, and then they want something as well on top of it. It's
like the oil in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's like that one fucking friend that only calls you when he needs help with something.
Oh yeah, you see the number and it's like, oh Christ,
here they come again.
So the claim is that when the Andromedans first reached Earth, there were already primitive versions of humans walking around. Like they weren't modern humans, not us as we know ourselves today, but early, incomplete forms.
I think draft versions, multiple bills running at the same time. And this shocked me because I didn't know this.
No?
I didn't know that there was. I thought, because I would look at the fucking chart of evolution and you'd see, you know, Neanderthal, blah, blah,
that's
blah.
the linear
monkey,
evolution
blah,
to
blah.
us. Like the direct line.
And that's how I thought it happened. That
No.
was always in my brain of this is how it happened. Is we progressed from the monkey and then we went to a slightly more intelligent monkey, like Planet of the Apes. We got Planet of the Apes, like. And then eventually we started losing the hair, standing more upright, brain got bigger, we started learning
using
more,
tools.
blah, 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 blah. But apparently, no. This isn't a chart of our fucking progression. This is a chart of all the different types of us. Like dog breeds.
Well, yeah,
Here's
the
your
full
Chihuahua,
chart, like it
Pitbull.
obviously has the linear line to us, but you also have the offshoots that died out that didn't really make it. Yeah. So instead of leaving those early humans alone, the Andromedans intervened. But it wasn't to create life from scratch. It was to accelerate development.
Which is where the theory stops being spiritual and starts being, well, deeply uncomfortable.
Well, yeah.
Because acceleration means interference.
According to Andromedan accounts collected through abductee testimony, contact reports, and modern researchers like Teddy Gatz, human intelligence didn't evolve naturally. It was enhanced.
Installed, basically. Which would explain why our brains feel like they're always overheating.
Yes.
Yeah, this shit wasn't supposed to be installed here. We're running on Windows 10 with 11. We're trying to install Windows 11 over here, and it's just like, no.
Computer says no.
Blow it up.
The idea is that early humans were modified to develop faster cognition, greater problem-solving ability, and a higher level of self-awareness.
But nobody bothered to install the emotional safety rails. So while we're getting fucking better at problem solving, nobody took away the whole fucking side of mine.
Yeah, exactly.
This is mine. Yep. Banging each other over the head with clubs and fucking dragging a woman away by her
ankles. So that's the core of what researchers call the Andromedan problem. Humans advanced technologically and intellectually, but not socially or ethically at the same pace.
Yeah,
as you said.
Which is why we invented medicine and nuclear weapons in the same century.
Pretty much.
We'll fix you and fuck you up all at the same time.
Well, yeah. So according to this theory, the Andromedans expected humanity to mature into a cooperative species. But instead, aggression, paranoia, and territorial violence became the defining traits.
Yeah, turns out giving a territorial primate a god-tier brain just makes it really good at inventing new ways to hurt itself.
Yeah. And what makes this different from other alien narratives is that the Andromedans didn't immediately abandon the project. They monitored it.
They observed it, studied it, and took notes.
And this is where the language used by researchers gets very specific. They don't talk about salvation or destruction. They talk about continuation or termination.
Which is not how you talk about a species you see as
No.
equals. That's how you talk about a program.
Yep.
An experiment.
Yep. The claim is that Andromedans never truly left Earth. They reduced direct contact and shifted into long-term observation.
Basically, they stopped being gods and became auditors.
Yes, exactly. And according to multiple sources, including files compiled by Teddy Gatz, that observation is ongoing.
Meaning wars, environmental collapse, even technological leaps aren't just history, they're metrics. They're watching it all. And fuck me, if they're watching it right now, we could be getting close to end of days shit.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't be. If this was my project and I was looking down, I'd be like, I cannot believe they put that orange motherfucker back in there for a second time. They had a 4-year break from him and they put him back in there again. Again. Fuck me.
So all this reframes a terrifying question.
Yeah. Not are aliens real, but what are they waiting to decide? You know, and more importantly, what happens if the answer is, yeah, no, this ain't working out.
Yeah. Well, bye-bye Earth. So one of the pillars holding up the Andromedan theory is the idea that humanity didn't evolve alone, not spiritually, not culturally, not even biologically. And this is where a lot of people first encounter the argument through shows like Ancient Aliens, because it starts with a genuinely uncomfortable scientific fact. For a very long time, there wasn't just one kind of human on this planet. There were several, like you said. We had Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo floresiensis, and the early Homo sapiens, all overlapping in time.
Make you wonder why the fucking right-wing people get so angry at homosexuals. We've had homos for years, decades,
Millions of years.
Just an extra homo. And now you're getting pissed off about it? Fucking hell, man.
Different builds, different capabilities, different survival strategies. For tens of thousands of years, Earth wasn't our world. It was a shared space. And then suddenly, it wasn't.
Yeah. Humanity went from a crowded group chat to seeing at 3:17 a.m. real quick.
Yep. Mainstream science explains this as a survival of the fittest. Climate shifts, competition, adaptability. But the Andromeda narrative points out something awkward. Homo sapiens didn't just survive, we exploded. Within a relatively short evolutionary window, we developed symbolic language, advanced tool-making, complex social structures, art, religion, and abstract thought. Not gradually, rapidly. Which is weird because evolution usually takes its time. It's a slow fucking move. It's a slow burn if you're watching. Yeah.
It doesn't just snort the line and reinvent consciousness over a weekend. Yeah, you know?
Exactly.
It's not Stephen King in the fucking 70s.
No.
Let's go!
So this sudden cognitive leap is often referred to in fringe research as the missing link. Not because fossils are missing, but because the transition doesn't behave the way evolutionary models expect it to. The Andromedan theory claims that this is where intervention happened. That Homo sapiens weren't the strongest or most resilient, but they were the most modifiable.
Custom firmware, open source ape.
Exactly. According to this view, the Andromedans encountered multiple early human species and chose one to work with. Not because it was superior, but because it had the neurological potential to be shaped. Other human species weren't wiped out through war or genocide. They were phased out or made obsolete. Which is a polite way of saying we were the chosen experiment and everyone else just kind of... It's the survival of the fittest kind of argument, except we had an edge. Yeah. It's like when a wrestler has a manager. We were the most easy to manipulate. They're in the title match and the manager slips in the knucks while the ref isn't looking, and then the bad wrestler hits the good wrestler and knocks him out. We were the bad wrestler with the manager throwing the knuckle dusters at us. Exactly. And every time one of those, homo fucking whatever they were called came up to us, we were just like, bam. Oh! My world now. Yeah. So what's unsettling is how this reframes our origin story. Humanity didn't win a natural competition. We were selected, and selection implies criteria. Actually, funny enough, like professional wrestling, you're selected to be the champion. We are the world champions. Hey. Whoever stayed late that week. Yeah, and the criteria probably wasn't most peaceful because, look around. Yeah. Who are the most suggestible? Who are the most gullible? Who can we fuck around with? Homo sapiens. Shit. Depressing. Ancient alien researchers often argue that aggression, territorialism, and paranoia weren't accidental traits. They were carryovers from our pre-modified state. Traits that helped early hominids survive predators but became catastrophic once paired with advanced intelligence.
Basically, we give a caveman a supercomputer and let him run foreign policy.
Yeah, exactly. No different from any other country, but anyway. And from the Andromedan perspective, that mismatch became the central failure. Intelligence outpaced empathy. Technology outpaced wisdom, which explains something else that researchers point out. Every major leap forward in human progress is followed almost immediately by new forms of mass violence.
Yeah. Fire gave us cooking and arson. Metalwork gave us plows and swords.
Yep.
The internet gave us global communication and whatever the fuck X is. You know? So, I mean...
Yeah. The pattern suggests a species that advances mechanically but stalls emotionally. And if you're an external intelligence observing this, you might start to question whether the experiment is behaving as intended.
Or whether you accidentally bred a very clever anxiety disorder.
Oh, absolutely that one. What makes this theory persist is that it doesn't require aliens to still be here physically. It only requires that they were here once at the right moment, nudging the right variables. And from that point on, humanity's trajectory could unfold on its own.
Which is way more efficient. No hovering shifts, no laser beams. Just edit the brain and walk the fuck away. And get out of here. And I wouldn't mind. If we can do everything remotely, you got to assume they can do their shit remotely,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those motherfuckers are working from home now. They're just sitting on like planet fucking Serpo and fucking beep, boop, 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 boop. So why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you down here fixing it? Look at what's going on here.
Because it's an experiment. They want to see how it goes.
Oh, motherfucker. Well, they had no problem intervening thousands of years ago.
That's true. But if all that's true, then the extinction of other human species wasn't a tragedy. It was a design outcome.
Which means every time we talk about human nature, we might actually be talking about leftover bugs in someone else's software.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to the most uncomfortable implication of all. If Homo sapiens were chosen, modified, and accelerated, then we weren't meant to just survive.
We were meant to become something. And whatever that something was, we're either late or we're not becoming it at all.
After the first signs of...
Basically, we're like the disappointing child. It's like a fuck.
Yeah.
Can't get him to go to college. All he does is sit around playing video games all day. He's a waste of fucking space, man. Been on the dole all his fucking sucking off of the galactic dole all his fucking life.
After the first signs of accelerated human development, according to the theory, the Andromedans, or at least beings consistent with their description, made themselves known in human history. Not subtly, not as whispers in the wind. They became the gods we find written across ancient civilizations. In Sumeria, they were the Anunnaki, descending from the heavens to establish rule, teach, and interfere directly with human affairs.
And if you want to know more about that particular side of this story, we cover it on It's Alive Action this Thursday on the Horrorverse Network, where we exclusively talk about the Sumerians and the Anunnaki, which is kind of going to fit in with this episode perfectly.
Crossover.
It's just a little offshoot, to be honest with you. Anyway, go.
Records describe the Anunnaki with precision, interacting with early humans and giving instructions on agriculture, governance, and technology. And it's the same pattern across the world. In Egypt, the Nigeru appear. In Mesoamerica, Viracocha and Quetzalcoatl, they walk among humans.
You did not pronounce that at all properly.
Quetzalcoatl.
I don't know how to do it either, but I mean, I'm just saying that couldn't have been right.
That is. It's Quetzalcoatl.
Okay, move on quick before anybody
Google it. Fucking Google it. And if before anybody comes for my pronunciation, let me hear you pronounce Samhain. As
you just told them how to do it.
Right, well, there's others.
Pronunciation. Oh, yeah.
I need to know how they pronounce it. Quetzalcoatl.
Oh, very good, Amy. Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl, yeah.
Very well done.
What was that? Why do you sound so surprised? My girlfriend's intelligent, guys.
Nothing like that.
No, it's not none of the Middle America.
It's like Welsh.
Yeah.
Throw letters at everything.
Anyway, I didn't pronounce the middle one right, but we'll skip over that. They walk among humans, teaching, shaping, and overseeing. Hindu texts describe devas descending in flying vimanas.
It would be interesting if a bunch of divas came down.
Devas?
Fucking,
Diva?
no, I'm just saying, if
Oh.
a bunch of divas came like fucking...
Mariah Carey blasting their lungs out.
Let's do this.
Even in the Book of Enoch, the Watchers arrive, mingle, and ultimately impose rules that humans weren't meant to fully grasp. The consistency is striking. Across continents and millennia, similar accounts of sky beings appearing just after humanity leaps forward in knowledge or technology.
Yeah, it's basically the same story, different accent.
Yeah.
And somehow humans always leave out the part where the gods are probably asking for a progress report.
And it wasn't just teaching, and they didn't just hand out knowledge. In every account, there's a theme of supervision, of correction. And when humans deviated, the gods punished or redirected. The flood myths, the divine retribution, even stories of plagues or wars, they can be interpreted as course correction.
Course correction by really tall, possibly telepathic babysitters.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the HR nightmares if your boss could just zap your neurons every time you complained about Monday.
Oh, it might do me good, though.
Wake you up a bit.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the week, boss.
Exactly, if you're set up for the
Have
day.
you ever read the 1984 book? Have you? Pretty much.
There's
Big Brother's watching you.
There's also, it would make me get up off my arse and exercise. So there's also evidence that they directly shaped human societies. Kingship, law codes, agriculture practices, and even astronomy all appeared almost immediately after these beings made contact. And it's as though humans were shown principles, not just given tools.
So pyramids weren't built by aliens. This is the big mistake everyone makes. But the aliens built the pyramids. No, they just guided by their manuals how to. Basically, it was like, here's how to cheat gravity. Humans, don't mess it up. That's basically how it worked. They were showing us. They were the foremans or
they were the
supervisors.
IKEA and
we were doing the work.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at the timeline, it aligns with the sudden spike in human development. Writing systems appear, cities emerge, and complex governance structures form at speeds that defy conventional understanding.
All while other species are still walking around wondering, wait, which button do I press to evolve?
You don't.
Why did those motherfuckers get to be smart and I'm still here eating grass and pooping outside?
Yeah, but like you pointed out, maybe it'll run our course and in like a million years' time, we'll be the ones running around laying eggs with feathers because the dinosaurs clearly didn't work out and that's what happened then.
Well, they were never going to work out for this lot.
They weren't intelligent enough.
Unless they came here and they were like, this place is fucking inhabited by monsters. Let's clear it out and put some of us in here.
That's true. That's also true. So the Andromedans, or whoever these beings were, didn't just leave humans to their own devices after teaching them. In many accounts, they withdrew, yes, but their presence lingered, and they became watchers, advisors, occasionally punishing, often observing, but always evaluating.
Which is the part nobody likes to admit. If they were here to monitor us, everything we call history becomes a lab report.
Yeah. And that's where Teddy Gatz's research comes in. So he spent decades compiling ancient records, oral histories, and artifacts that point to patterns too consistent to ignore. Skeptics say it's correlation, but he believed it was confirmation. That these beings weren't myths. They were architects, teachers, and evaluators of humanity.
And for the record, he also had some unusual notes about their anatomy and tech. But we'll save the full tour of the Gatz files for next week because that's a rabbit hole. You can't peek into it too quickly. If we were to start in Gatz now, we'd be here for another couple of hours.
Probably. What we can say now is that the arrival of the sky beings corresponds neatly with the evolutionary acceleration that we talked about earlier. Humans were ready to change, and they showed up to make sure that change happened.
Or to see if we could change without blowing ourselves up entirely, which, spoiler alert, we're still testing.
Yeah. And that's the uncomfortable part. Across time and space, the same figures appear, guiding, correcting, watching, and even now, some researchers argue that monitoring hasn't stopped.
which is why UFOs, strange aerial phenomena, and even unexplained government interest in these reports suddenly don't feel so random. You start thinking maybe it's less alien showing off and more performance review humanity edition. So they're coming here and not landing because they just want to have a peek around and see what we're up to.
Yeah. And if that it's that framework, pardon me, that allows us to look at human history differently, not just as a series of random events, but as part of a much larger pattern. One designed perhaps by beings whose ultimate goal we can barely comprehend.
And if they did design it, it also means that every mistake we've made, every war, every disaster, it's basically data, metrics, performance notes. And technically partially their fault. I mean, they should be down here tweaking shit a little bit. I mean, if my computer starts acting up, I don't just stay fucking staring at my fucking computer and waiting
to
for
observe
it. I wonder how it's going to react if I don't do anything at all.
And just watch it.
I start going in and fixing the bugs. Why are you not down here fixing the bugs? I'm starting to get angry.
Maybe
with the
they are, and
aliens
that's
now.
what the Mandela effect is.
Maybe.
There you go. Which brings us to the next question we need to tackle. So what happens when those overseeing the project realizes that it's not going according to plan?
Yeah, and that's where it starts to kind of get a bit dark.
If the Andromedans, or the beings we later call gods, were overseeing humanity, then the next logical question is what happens when the project starts to fail? And according to almost every ancient culture on Earth, the answer is the same. The world ends, or at least it almost does. Across continents, religions, and time periods, we find remarkably similar stories of a global flood. Not a local disaster, not a seasonal event, a near total reset of life on Earth. In ancient Sumer, the Epic of Gilgamesh tells us the gods grew dissatisfied with humanity, too loud, too violent, too chaotic, so they decided to wipe them out. One man, Utnapishtim, is warned. He builds a vessel, life is preserved, and the rest is erased. Thousands of years later, the same story appears again. Noah, a warning, a boat, a flood, and a restart.
Yeah. Humanity's origin story is basically we messed up so badly that the universe hit control ultimately.
But it doesn't stop there. In Greek mythology, Deucalion survives a flood sent by Zeus. In Hindu tradition, Manu is warned of a deluge that will destroy the world. Indigenous cultures in the Americas, Asia, and Oceania all carry variations of the same account. Different gods, same catastrophe.
Where's Oceania?
That is New Zealand and Australia. That's the continent. There, it's Australia, say in the Olympics, but Oceania is the continent that Australia is on.
Oh, I never knew that. So with all that, statistically starts to look less like myth and more like bad project management repeating itself here when you look at the amount of times that this is claimed to happen. Or maybe it's just the same fucking flood being retold over time, because every early culture has a strong oral tradition. So if one culture starts grow, like they have that myth in their culture or whatever, and then some of them emigrate this way, you're starting kind of like a new civilization, a new culture. So that story is going to seem newer than the story that started over here. Yeah. Researchers who support the Andromedan theory argue that this wasn't divine punishment. It was procedural. It was a planetary reset. And if early humanity couldn't be corrected through guidance, then the system had to be wiped back to a survivable baseline. Life preserved and civilization erased. Like turning it off and on again, but with oceans.
What makes this especially disturbing is what happens after the flood. According to the theory, humanity doesn't start over slowly. There is no long period of confusion or cultural amnesia. Civilization snaps back into place. Writing reappears, agriculture restarts, kingship is established, law codes emerge, and architecture advances at an almost impossible pace for a population that supposedly just survived near extinction.
Yeah, nobody crawls out of an apocalypse and immediately invents accounting unless someone is giving them notes,
Yeah, solve this theorem. Now, this is where the phrase made in their image takes on a very literal meaning. Post-flood humanity, according to the Andromedan narrative, wasn't just reseeded, it was refined. Humans were redesigned to more closely resemble their overseers, physically, cognitively, and socially.
Which might explain why we suddenly developed this obsession with hierarchy and authority, kings, gods, bloodlines, very top-down thinking by us.
And the implication is that the flood wasn't an ending, it was version 2. And that version 2 was meant to be more stable and more controllable and more aligned with the Andromedan values.
And yet here we are, still arguing over land, resources, and who gets to push the big red button.
There should be no big red fucking buttons. Some researchers argue that the reason flood myths are so emotionally charged is because they represent humanity's collective memory of being almost discarded. A species that knows on some subconscious level that it failed once before.
And that would explain the anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And the hoarding.
Mm-hmm.
And the constant urge to build walls and stockpile weapons like the universe is going to ground us again.
Yep. According to accounts linked to the Andromedans, the reset was supposed to resolve the problem of human aggression, but it didn't. Humans continued to wage war, continued to exploit the planet, and continued to divide themselves into us and them.
Which means the flood didn't fix the bug, it just reinstalled itself.
Mm-hmm.
I stick by what I've said a million times over. And maybe this is the reason why they haven't come back to us yet. I don't believe that humans will have world peace until we have an external threat to go against together. Until we say, like, once we realize that there are other worlds with other people on it, they'll become the foreigners, and then suddenly we'll become one to go against the foreigners, and then we'll be racist towards the Martians instead of towards each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Universal racism. That's what we're really looking for here. World peace, universal racism.
I don't want to be racist at all. Let them come in. I'd be. Well, I know
they'll take our
my
jobs.
my say doesn't count, but I would like to sit down and talk to them. But
You say that until there's It's Alive podcasts with Gloop and Dr. Glog 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 running the show.
my name is Gloopaglork. You can get fucked.
It wouldn't be you. It would be two aliens who've taken our job.
No, they're not going to turk our gerbs. So this all leads to a terrifying conclusion.
Yeah, they'll take my job.
Off. If the Andromedans were willing to reset the planet once, they could do it again.
And next time, they might not bother saving it back up.
And there won't be any more jobs left to take. Which
They'll
raises
take my planet.
which raises the question researchers like Teddy Gatz became obsessed with. If the flood was the first reset.
What does the second one look like?
Yes. And more importantly.
How close are we to triggering it?
You seem excited. You said it.
Yeah, a bit. Just want a bit of adventure.
Oh, boy. The end times are going to be fun with you. It's okay. Up to this point, everything we've talked about could be dismissed as myth, coincidence, or pattern hunting. The stories passed down, symbols interpreted, timelines argued over. But the Andromedan theory doesn't survive on ancient texts alone. It survives because of people who tried to organize it. And one of those people was Teddy Gatz. Gatz wasn't a mystic and he wasn't a preacher. He didn't talk about belief. He talked about evidence. His work sits in that uncomfortable space between archaeology, conspiracy research, and obsession.
Should we talk about what Gatz was? No, yeah. He wasn't asking, what do I feel about aliens? He was asking, why do these data points refuse to shut up?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
So Gatz compiled...
This guy's a great, best fucking source we could have picked.
Yep. He compiled material from abduction reports, historical records, declassified documents, and comparative anatomy. What he was looking for wasn't proof of visitors, but proof of continuity. His central question was simple. If the beings humanity once called gods never truly left, what would their presence look like now?
And the answer apparently is filing cabinets and insomnia.
Nope. And one of the most disturbing parts of Gatz's archive is his work on Andromedan anatomy. He didn't rely on a single source.
No.
He cross-referenced dozens of independent accounts.
Very independent.
That describe beings with the same physical trait. Humanoid, but subtly wrong. Elongated skulls, narrow facial structures, and long limbs. Proportions that don't quite match human averages, but align disturbingly well with early hominid fossils.
Yeah, the sketches look less like aliens and more like us after a few software updates.
Gatz overlaid Andromedan skeleton diagrams with human anatomy.
We call them diagrams, though. Okay, just keep going.
Do you want to keep interrupting?
No.
The similarities weren't perfect, but they were consistent enough to raise alarms. Spine curvature, hand articulation, eye placement, brain case volume. His conclusion was controversial. Humans don't resemble the Andromedans by coincidence. We resemble them by design.
Which is a rough thing to realise when you're already struggling with your self-esteem.
Mm-hmm. He was particularly focused on the brain. Gatz believed the human frontal lobe showed signs of accelerated development that didn't match the rest of our evolutionary timeline. He theorized that human consciousness might be a limited version of Andromedan cognition. Not superior, just broader.
Which would explain why humans are capable of empathy and creativity, but also panic constantly and binge watch apocalypse documentaries.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then there was the technology. Gatz didn't believe Andromedan craft were mechanical in the way human machines are. His model suggests bio-integrated systems. Ships grown, not built. No visible propulsion, movement through gravity manipulation rather than trust.
So basically, living vehicles that don't burn fuel, don't pollute, and don't explode if you sneeze wrong. And you can see why humans didn't get that tech. And there is some corroborating evidence to this that we'll get to soon.
Okay. So he connected this to ancient structures. Pyramids, ziggurats, megalithic sites, not as landing pads, but as experiments in resonance and alignment. And humans weren't given machines. They were taught principles, frequency, balance, geometry.
And that's a big thing in Ancient Aliens, the TV show. They're always going on about the fucking geometry. They're mad for fucking geometry. You know, it's like, because of the geometry of this and this and this and this. It's clearly from outer space. Or it was at least information we got from outer space.
Yeah.
But they give us frequency, balance, and geometry, and humans immediately ask, cool, can we weaponize it?
Aye.
What can we blow up with geometry?
What can this square do for me?
We can build a big brick and drop it on his head.
Bang.
Dead. Job done.
One of Gatz's most unsettling contributions was his concept of the observation phase.
You think that was his most unsettling contribution?
Do you just want to come out with it? You're
No,
bursting.
no,
You're bursting for
That's
it.
next
Do you
week.
just want to
Keep going.
go there?
Keep going.
He believed that after the reset, the Andromedans withdrew from direct rule. No more gods walking openly among humans. No more kings claiming divine bloodlines. Instead, observation, monitoring from a distance with minimal interference, data collection, and
Which suddenly makes UFO sightings less like joyrides and more like I said earlier, it's just performance reviews.
Yeah.
These guys are watching us to see what we're up to.
Exactly. Gatz tracked spikes in unexplained aerial phenomena alongside major global events. Wars, nuclear testing, environmental disasters, technological breakthroughs, not intervention, measurement.
They're not stopping us. They're seeing how bad we let it get on our own. Like, you know?
Yeah, so I
Are we like
presume
the
it's
car
like
crash
the
they
thing-
can't stop watching? Are we like that South Park episode where Earth is like the ultimate reality TV show?
No, we're
It's
like
like, watch
Bart
these people
and the
fuck up.
hamster.
Huh?
Do you know the hamster gets shocked and it won't go back?
I thought
to
you said
things?
Art and the hamster, and I was like, I missed that scene in Terrifier.
Oh,
What
that
happened
sounds
with
like
the
it'd be a
hamster?
fun scene.
Where did he stick it?
No,
And who
Bart
did he
and the
stick it
hamster
to?
in The Simpsons. The hamster's learning its lesson.
Yeah,
but
I remember with the muffin. Yeah,
exactly. So what's chilling is that Gatz later notes stop sounding like research and start sounding like dread. He begins asking questions instead of making claims. Why hasn't contact resumed? Why allow extinction level weapons? And why tolerate ecological collapse?
That's the moment every researcher hits, though. When you realize silence isn't absence, it's patience.
Maybe they're just going to realize that we're just going to reset ourselves. It's like, why waste the effort and flooding the place? Just give them a couple of 100 years and
Because
they're
we'll
going to...
nuke the whole fucking place and they won't be able to use it for fucking hundreds and thousands of years. We still
very
can't
true.
go into Chernobyl.
No, not for a long
So,
time.
I mean,
And even theoretically, once it is safe to go back in there, theoretically, because of the half-life, that atom could split itself again.
I go again.
And just go again, except this time it'd be a lot bigger because of the radiation that's there in the air already. So Gatz became to believe that humanity wasn't being protected. It was being evaluated, and that evaluation wasn't endless.
Yeah, projects don't run forever. Eventually, someone upstairs wants results.
And that's where his work becomes dangerous. Because if he was right,
Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had a witty. Because if he was right, the Andromedans aren't coming back. They're deciding whether they need to.
And next week, when we talk about what happened to Teddy Gatz himself, we will figure out that was not the most dangerous part of his work. Just keep going.
We'll see just how close he may have gotten to an answer.
And why some doors, once opened, don't close quietly. All right, so if you want to understand how the Andromedans actually live, right? Not as God or watchers, but as a functioning civilization, you have to talk about Project Serpo, because it wasn't a planet.
It was a project.
There's no way around it. We got to talk about this because this really lines up with everything that we've learned about the Andromedans so far. This is the part where people either lean in or immediately stop listening.
Yeah, you lose them.
So Project Serpo, according to leaked briefings and whistleblower testimony, it was a covert exchange program that began in the early 1960s. Not contact, not observation, an exchange. 12 humans were selected, 10 men, 2 women, military, scientific, medical backgrounds, no poets or philosophers, nobody that no one that's likely to panic or look for a hug. Real fucking mind-based, educational-based, sensible people. And they were sent off-world.
How is it a fair study if you don't have an equal mix of sexes?
It's the 1960s, Amy. They only sent you up there to reproduce.
No, I know that, but surely you need, for it to work properly, you would need an equal amount of everything to get an all-encompassing kind of... Okay. 1960s, that's what we'll blame it on. So this is supposed to be after Roswell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this wasn't accidental contact. This was negotiated.
Exactly. And that's what makes it different. The claim is that after the initial crashes and recoveries, communication was established. And whoever we were dealing with wasn't interested in conquest. They were interested in compatibility. Now, officially, Serpo is said to orbit the star in the Zeta Reticuli system. But here's where the Andromedan connection becomes interesting. A lot of researchers believe Serpo wasn't the species name, it was the program name. And beings involved fit the Andromedan profile far more closely than the classic Zeta Greys.
Okay. So the name stuck, but the species didn't.
Right. Bureaucracy does that. Once the label's on a folder, nobody's changing it.
Mm-mm.
According to the accounts, the planet itself was unforgiving. Higher radiation levels, a dimmer star, less biodiversity, everything evolved under pressure. Survival required cooperation, not competition. War as a concept never developed here.
So that alone would make humans the weird ones in the room.
Absolutely. And the Andromedan society described in these reports had no money, no religion, no centralized government in a way that we would understand it. Decisions were made collectively, slowly, with an emphasis on long-term planetary stability, which is the complete opposite to the way we fucking operate.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we complain about red tape and slow fucking bureaucracy, but I mean, this is like a decision could take, as you can see, if it's true about how they feel about our Earth, millions of years for them to decide what they're going to do next.
Nope. So this wasn't a cultural exchange like, here's our music, here's yours. This was immersion.
Yeah. The humans did not handle it well. Biologically, the Andromedans were described as physically weaker than humans, but neurologically advanced. Limited facial expressions, minimal verbal communication, heavy reliance on telepathic and neural signaling, which meant humans suddenly couldn't lie the way they used to, because these motherfuckers could hear us.
That's terrifying.
In our head. Right. So no spin, no politics, no pretending you're fine when you're not. Their technology all was biointegrated as well. Structures were grown, not built. Power drawn from environmental fields. So no combustion, no pollution, no waste. Basically a civilization that solved the problems we're still arguing about while poisoning the planet.
But so how did humans react?
Badly.
Yeah.
Some adapted, but some broke. According to the leaks, several of the human participants died from environmental stress and long-term exposure. Now, when I originally heard about this story, I only heard that 1 out of the humans died. And that might have been on the actual journey. I didn't realize so many of them went down. Other psychologically deteriorated. A few refused to return to Earth when the program ended. And that last part is the most disturbing because it suggests that given the option, some humans would rather stop being human and then come back here. It suggests humanity, it can't be gently transitioned in because we're having a lot of, we obviously have problems with their atmosphere. We obviously have problems with the way they work and the way we think. And I mean, maybe it's just, if they really want to fucking like mesh us in here and bring us into their fold, why did they leave the telepathy and shit like that blocked off on us compared to them? Because we're made in their image. I don't know. Exposure.
Because it's like parents.
Huh?
It's like parents. You wouldn't want the kids being able to, if we were telepathic, but you wouldn't want like your offspring to be able to think what parents are thinking. Like, do you know what I mean? Isn't that the same thing?
Exposure to a post-scarcity, non-violent civilization doesn't inspire us. It fractures us. So that's the biggest problem here.
So Project Serpo wasn't proof of friendship. It was a stress test.
Exactly. It wasn't diplomacy. It was another experiment. How do humans behave when removed from scarcity? What happens when hierarchy disappears? Can they function without fear as a motivator? And the answer apparently was not reliably.
Which brings us back to the Andromedans watching from a distance.
Yeah. If Serpo happened, then it explains the silence. You don't reveal yourselves to a species that can't survive your world without collapsing. You don't invite them into the wider system. You observe, you wait, you decide.
Okay. So an extinction in that context, it is an anger.
No, it's containment. You don't hate a failed experiment. You just don't repeat it.
And that would mean Project Serpo wasn't about aliens coming to Earth.
No, it was whether humans were ever meant to leave it. And judging by how quietly that program disappeared,
The results, they weren't encouraging.
Not even a little.
So if Project Serpo was a stress test, the question becomes what happened after? And the unsettling answer is we don't know because the Andromedans didn't leave Earth. At least not in any visible sense. According to modern researchers, including files compiled by Teddy Gatz, the Andromedans shifted from direct intervention to long-term observation. They stopped appearing as gods in the sky. And they withdrew from our institutions. And yet they didn't disappear. They became invisible custodians of humanity's progress. Watching, recording, evaluating.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're basically cosmic auditors with really bad taste in human behavior.
And what's chilling is that their evaluation is ongoing. Every war, every political upheaval, every technological leap, it's all data. Performance metrics.
Which means your cousin starting a cryptocurrency scheme in his garage isn't just annoying, it's a field study.
According to Gatz, they're not just measuring progress. They're considering outcomes, whether humanity will continue or if the project, us, needs to end.
And here's where it gets really dark. Unlike us, they aren't constrained by ethics, laws, or human empathy. Their only concern is results.
Some researchers suggest that nudges have been applied for centuries. Patterns in ancient texts, floods, plagues, sudden leaps in technology all could be interpreted as attempts to correct humanity's behavior.
Yeah, something like a cosmic traffic cop with a machine gun.
And yet, despite these interventions, humanity continues to spiral. We invent faster weapons, we exploit the planet, and we divide ourselves along lines that seem almost inevitable.
Yeah, we're predictable little pricks, aren't we?
Absolutely, which is why Gatz notes take on a new tone toward the end of his work. He moves from cataloguing evidence to asking questions that have no easy answers. What happens if the observers decide we're beyond help? What happens if the experiment is cancelled? And what happens if they decide to try a different approach or none at all?
Translation, they're still watching, still weighing whether humanity deserves to survive. And spoiler alert, we're not exactly giving them a reason to say yes.
And Teddy Gatz was obsessed with understanding the signals. Every anomaly, every unexplained phenomenon, every ancient text he could cross-reference, but he never published the full picture. Some say that he was too afraid, but others say he was too close to answers that humans were never meant to confront.
Or maybe he just got tired of people calling him crazy while sitting on what looked like a blueprint for the ultimate cosmic performance review. Also, what serial killers say are rarely taken at face value, but that's next week's story.
Oh, you can wait.
I will point out that Ted Kaczynski bombed a shitload of people, but some of his papers are still available and used in schools in America to explain some mathematical fucking equations.
He's the Unabomber, yeah?
Yeah. So, I mean, just because you kill people doesn't mean you're not smart and know shit at the same time. Some of his manifesto has turned out to be a little true.
Okay, I didn't know
so,
that.
I mean...
No, the truth is we can only speculate about what Andromedans are thinking, but the evidence suggests that they are still watching, and they're still evaluating, and they are still deciding.
And looking at the species and the people we have voted into power lately, it's terrifyingly fair of them to still be on the fence about us. I know what I'd do to this world if I was the head of the Andromedans.
So humanity's fate may not be determined by war, famine, or plague. It may be determined by beings who see our every move, understand our weaknesses, and know exactly what we're capable of.
And if that thought doesn't keep you up at night, you're not paying attention.
Nope. And next week, we'll return to Teddy Gatz's files. We'll explore what he discovered about the Andromedan technology, anatomy, and archives, and what his own story tells us about the dangers of looking too closely at who or what is watching.
Yep. This whole story gives a new meaning to the phrase ignorance is bliss. But I will say one thing, right?
Tell me.
Looking at all this in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically going to say the same thing I said when we watched The Crown. And I was like, yeah, people think like being king and queen sounds like a great fucking life and all that shit. But
you
it
are
sucks.
the crown.
It sucks because you got to follow all these rules. And fine. I know I joke a lot throughout this episode about how we fuck up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I would rather fuck up and have moments of real pure joy than be a race of beings with no real emotion that are all kind of stuck on this analytic one world fucking notion of we're here to just worry about, you know, our system and all that. I mean, without hate, you can't have love. You know, it doesn't. Without hurt, there's no joy. We have to balance the stuff out. There's a reason why we feel bad stuff as well as good stuff, because if you felt good stuff all the time, what would be the fucking point? Which is always why I was like, well, then what the fuck is the point in heaven? You get to heaven, you're happy all the time. Can't be happy all the time without being sad every now and again. It doesn't make any fucking sense because you'll never understand the difference. There's nothing to measure it against. There's no measurable fucking change there. So in that sense, are we a failure or are we just are we letting I think our biggest problem as humanity is we're letting negativity outweigh positivity at the moment. We're just being beaten in the negative side a little bit more than the positive side. But I think there's always hope for us, and in that sense of you do need negativity to feel positive.
Yeah.
You know, at times. It's just it's like a battery. You need negative, you need positive, you need everything. You need it all to work together.
Negative.
Balance. This is like the Force. It's like what they learned in Star Wars. There is no all light and there is no all dark. You gotta find balance in the Force.
And be good.
You think these Andromedans would know this because that happened a long, long time ago in
a
galaxy far, far away. They don't know their history, Amy. Fucking hell.
Ridiculous. Shameful.
Anyway,
if you want more horror and crime fun, then head on over to patreon.com/the Horrorverse Network and check out our bonus show. It's a live action because tomorrow we'll be dropping our bonus show episode where we're looking at the Anunnaki.
Anunnaki. I like the Anunnaki.
Yes.
And also we had mini monsters this week. And there is a full season of free Playing with Bones up there available now. Season 1 or 2? Which one was your French one?
1.
Season 1 is available for free to listen to. And we're pretty much, I think, 1 or 2 episodes into the free celebrity rap sheets dropping. And then we'll be getting back with new episodes next month.
Yep.
Also, we have Amy Rose's photo drop every Saturday. And that's about it. And you'll be back twitching this Monday after Christmas break.
Yes, yeah, from 10 to 12 Irish. What do we say to that?
That is about dinner time, 4 to 6 o'clock.
Dinner time, all of our American friends.
I think I'm lost with it. And Horrorverse headlines will be back this
4 p.m.
week.
to 6 p.m. Got it.
Horrorverse headlines will be back this week as normal. Well, not as normal because we'll be missing this gorgeous lady right here. It'll be just me. I'm me.
Sorry.
I'm
Be
my
back next
lonesome.
weekend.
And I will also have, and if you go backwards, come this Friday when the new Horrorverse headlines drop, go back a week and there'll be a short little 10-minute clip there which will explain what we're going to be doing with Patreon this year, what we're doing with some new show ideas we have this year, some extra content for Patreon. You can check it all out on that episode. All that shit will drop this weekend.
Yes.
Until then, we'll be back next week with more Tales from the Horrorverse or Tales from the Gatz Files.
Oh, you can't wait. I'm just going to let you do the episode on your own.
See y'all then. Same lifetime, same Horrorverse channel. Okay, love you.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
love you. Bye-bye.
And yes, the video stayed going. Video chat. Let's do this.
Video chat.
Ooh.